Hi guys, I'm John and this is Unique Wargaming Terrain. Sorry about the camera bouncing, I just knocked it by accident. A few days ago I did a off the cuff video, my pile of shame. Now the whole point behind that was I was in work talking to my colleague and we were talking about like pile of shame, and he said to me, "You don't, what how big is your pile of shame?" So I thought I'll give you a video, and I was only meant to do it for him and send it to him. But what happened was I started filming, I did the intro and everything else, and I thought, you know what, I'll chuck that up on, just chuck that up. And actually got such a good response. So what I've decided to do then was, I have my terrain build every week. And I decided to do, why don't I just do an off the cuff video once a week, answer questions and just give them information and stuff like that, and any help I can to do with models, not terrain, just model stuff. You know, pretty handy thing to do. So I'm part of a group on Facebook called Warhammer 40,000 Kit Bashers group, and I'll tell you what guys, if you're not part of that group, look it up on Facebook, the Warhammer 40,000 Kit Bashers group. Amazing, some absolute amazing kit bashes, and not just kit bashing models or conversion models, whatever you call it, but painting as well. Just, and the ideas that people come up with are just insane and absolutely amazing, and just it's a joy to look at every day. Now there's one guy, for example, whose name I've lost. I put his name down on a bit of paper so I can mention him, and I can't find it. And such is the way of doing an off-cuff video, because there's no editing on this, so it's just film and go. He he's got a Eldari Wraith Lord. Yeah, not Wraith Lord. Wraith Lord I think it's called. It's a big robot construction with guns on the arms, and it's a fantastic model anyway. But what he done to it is actually amazing. He turned it into a xenomorph from Aliens. Amazing. Now, his question to the group was, I'm no good at basing, and I don't know how to base any information. You know, I don't think it's worded like that, but that's the general gist of it. So I said to him, I'll do a video and I'll give him some information, help him out. Now, the first thing when it comes to basing models, and sort of you base it out on models, you need to try and have an easy, generic thing that you can do, mass produce, that's not over the top expensive, difficult and time consuming to do, or just a pain in the hole. You want something that's quick, easy and simple. Now, I'm talking about basic troops now, not like heroes or anything like that, because heroes you can go to town a bit on. But what I do, I'm going to tell you what I do, and then I'm going to give you a few examples of what you could do. So what I do, I clean and glue the model, okay, it's up closer, and then I gravel the model, okay, just I leave the trim and gravel the top. Now, the gravel that I use is not Games Workshop. It used to be until they changed it to sand, and I tried over that. Is this stuff here, okay? Now this is brown railway coal, and what they use it for is when you're doing railway like layouts and everything else, for your trains that move around, they use that down and put the tracks on top. So I put Vigilate to the base. I indicate the whole thing black spray, the gravel, the model. Now with the gravel, when you hit with black underspray, like black underspray paint, sorry, that would normally be edited, that little mistake, but doesn't matter, it's off the cuff. What that does is the black paint will wrap itself around the stone, the gravel, and between the gravel and on the base. So you're essentially giving each gravel bit a shield of black paint. Then what I do is I use Steel Legion Drab, obviously when it's dry, and I will dry brush the gravel. Okay, before I even touch the model, I'll dry brush the gravel. Then you can go with Bane Blade Brown. Okay, but if you do Steel Legion Drab, dry brush it one way, and if you go with Bane Blade Brown, dry brush it the other way, and don't do the whole thing second dry brush. Just do bits and pieces so it gives it a contrast everywhere. Now, then what I do is I paint the rest of the model, and when that's finished, I then, let me show you, look, here's See how close. Yeah, so you see that. Just put the two up against each other. See the difference in the colour of the gravel? Yeah. And then what I do then is I will, once the model's painted, I'll flock the base. Now, here's one. Okay, so I don't flock the whole thing. I just flock it here and there, just so it stands out. Yeah, here's my little dude. Yes. This is a disc up to Zench, and the flying stand typical thing breaks. So you know that's a work in progress to be fixed. Now some heroes you might want to add a little bit something extra. So this guy has a little pile of skulls sitting at the front there. You get this, yeah. Zoom in and make that out. No, come on, focus in. Okay. Okay, but what I'm saying is, for me, that's quick, easy and simple, and I can mass produce it and mass replicate it, and there's not a problem. If you do some elaborate base for your sergeant or your Space Marine unit, and then you want to reproduce that on every unit, it's going to be a pain. So you want to do something quick and simple. Now there's that way of doing it. The other thing you can do is food packaging. Now, you see this texture here? That's absolutely amazing. You know, that's you can't use that for walkways as such. I'm talking about terrain wise, because there's no holes in it, so just paint will sit on it. But for the basing, it can be okay. You also got things like this. Okay, this is perfect because this is a Terminator size base. You got plenty of play in there. Yeah. This is the bigger size base. That is a little, let me spin this around so you can see, a little bit bigger than the actual bit of packaging. Again, the food packaging. This, you know, I think these were cheesecakes that were in here. Cut that out, glue it to the base, glue the model on top of it, undercut the whole thing black. You can silver brush it, you know, do whatever you want with it. There is other things you can do with those. You can take something like that and cut bits of it off and put it on, and take bits of things like, yeah, just off the cuff. See the lid? You can take bits like that and glue it on the base. You can take extra heads, extra arms and weapons that you have and glue them on the base. You can even glue the arm with a gun on it or something on the base, and a bit of gravel over the top. Not the whole thing, just a bit of it, so it looks like it's half buried. That's what you can do. You can use some Filamix, okay, on the base, leave that to dry, and then super glue your model to it, okay. You can pin the model to the base and then do the Filamix. It's not, not an issue. There's some simple things that you can do. Now, for me personally, the gravel is easier. It looks, for me, I like the look of it. The only problem is if I'm playing a war game, it's a desert terrain. And I've got grass, it looks a bit weird, but on the whole, it's okay. Now, there is something else. So Games Workshop does it. I think they call it technical paint, and it's a paint product that you put on, and as it dries, it reacts and just turns into like scorched earth or something like that. Now, other companies do stuff the same, but they might call it something different. So I'm just going to call it all technical paint. Okay. So even if it's Game Air or Model Color, Vallejo, whatever, it's all. I'm going to call it all technical paint. So there's no confusion in it. Now, if you live in the Republic of Ireland, one place that I know that you can get a shitload of stuff for anything you need for model-wise, terrain, models, whatever, is hobbymad.ie. Okay? If you live outside of Republic of Ireland, I think Green Stuff World, and I think Hobby Mad and Green Stuff World have 99% the same sort of stuff. Okay? If I'm wrong, let me know, but I'm pretty sure they're pretty much the same stuff. If you live in England, you can Geek Gaming Scenics, GEEK Gaming Scenics. Some amazing bits and pieces that Luke produces, base ready materials, and he produces things like gravels on flocks, but they're like mixed together. So as soon as you put it on the model, it's done. You know, check it out if you want some more information. hobbymad.e, Geek Gaming Scenics, Green Stuff World. Now, there are other bits and pieces that I'm looking at here is weathering effects, which is different things like mud, engine oil and stuff like that. You've got model colours, which is cars and stuff like that. You've got pigments, which is, a pigment is like if you're making rust effect. Yeah, you can actually just paint the colour you want and then just, it's like a powder. It looks more like tile grout. Yeah, and when you chuck it on, it gives you the colour you need. So there's information there, guys, for basing and stuff. And the Mr. Xenomorph, I hope that helps you. That's one question that I've seen over the last couple of days. The second question was, a couple of lads are talking about they do painting on a computer desk, and the heat just dries the paint out too quickly and all that sort of stuff. So what's the story with a wet palette? Now, I'm not an expert on wet paletting. I couldn't tell you where to buy one from or how much they cost or anything like that. I've used a wet palette a handful of times, and I actually look at it and go, well, all the models that I've painted previously are such a good standard, and I never used a wet palette. I started using wet palette and it's like, wow, that's so much easier. So the wet palette keeps your paint wet for longer, okay, and it's easy to mix colours and stuff like that. Now, what I did, I went to a petrol station, not just to get this, but I went to a petrol station and I bought cake. And it comes in a little box with a plastic lid, okay. Now this lid, there's little ridges in there, so it sits flat and it dips inwards, okay. Now what you do is, you have something like this, you get a piece of kitchen towel, not toilet paper, kitchen towel, a square. Put it on there and just sort of tear it so it fits inside there. It doesn't have to be millimetre perfect, just so it sits in there. Then what you want to do is get a piece of greaseproof paper. Now this is wrong size for this, but just to give you an idea. Now when you get the greaseproof paper, it's going to be curled because it's rolled. What you want to do is take the curled side and put it over the top of the kitchen roll. Okay, so it's something like this. Forget the bits that hang over the top, yeah? Get those bits. And then what you want to do is you want to put some water in there. Okay, now bear in mind, see how it's not flush, it's a little jagged at the bottom. That's great. So you put some water on the top and let the water run underneath. So the tissue goes really damp and soggy. Okay, and that's what you want. You then tip the excess off, put your colours on the greaseproof paper, and away you go. It's that simple. And when you're finished, you just scoop the greaseproof paper up, get the wet tissue in the bin. Maybe get a bit of tissue, give that a little wipe down so it's not. That's it. And I'll tell you what, guys, that cake cost me €2.60. And if that ends up being no good, like because of it gets damaged or whatever, I'll throw it away and go and buy another cake. That's it. Right, so guys, that's the two questions that I saw this week. I'm actually going to do this type of video once a week, just a model focus video where it be equipment, paints, techniques or anything like that. I'm going to do one of these a week, an off the cuff video. When I say off the cuff, I mean I'm not editing this. So someone could walk in here at any moment and start talking to me, and I can't edit it out of it. So if that happens, or if someone comes and starts swearing or whatever, I do apologise. It's not. If you have any questions for something you want me to talk about or give some information about, or just give information that I know from my 20 odd years of wargaming, so come below and I'll address it next week. Now bear in mind, if I get 50 or 60 questions, I may not be able to get all of them done. Okay, I'll get some of them done, then the week after be some more. I might be able to tie 2 or 3 questions together because they're the same type of question. So guys, please hit the like, share, subscribe and turn your notifications. And I'll see you next week for another part. Take it easy, guys.